Hi everyone, it's Chala from Yes I Love You. Thank you for joining me for today's Reveal Wheel Chameleon card inspired by an older video by Chari Moss. I'll link to that. I'm really excited to share with you a Canadian company I've come across called Scrap and Stamp. I love how well they package their products and the quick shipping. Thanks CC for taking care of my products here. I quickly share some items I ordered, which is the All Smiles from My Favorite Things, as well as loving that they send the reveal wheel in the cardboard packaging there for safety. Some little additional add-on die cuts there, as well as some stamps. And of course the sentiments that go along really well with the reveal wheel. So today I am using the One in a Chameleon stamp and die cut set with the reveal wheel. I'm really excited to put these two items together. I'll start off by stamping the chameleon here with some Memento ink, which allows me to do some Copic coloring later. I'm using my stamp platform here by Stamp Perfect. It allows me to get some great detailed stamping here, and if I need to re-ink to get a crisper image, I can do that without too much hassle. I'm going to go ahead here and cut the bases that I need for the reveal wheel, and I'm going to cut two of these from black cardstock that I just picked up from Michael's. It's just a Recollections brand, I believe. So I'll cut two of those out. And then from here, I'm going to also cut my chameleon out. Now, this is going to take a little bit of planning here. And what I decided to do was actually figure out where the original dies that actually coordinate with this reveal wheel go. And I thought it would be easiest if I actually just used one of the inserts that I had purchased and just to line up that chameleon where the die should sit, if that makes sense. So I'll just place that in there and kind of line up the chameleon die cut there, put it down with some tape, and then I'll run that through the die cutting machine. And that should line up the image really well with that reveal wheel in the background. Alright, so now I'm going to put the wheel together. I'm sure you guys have seen this done 100 times from other videos. There's others out there who can explain it better than me. But you're going to put that little wheel on the back, and you're going to add some adhesive. And then from here you will see that there are notches in the wheel that allow you to line up the image from the top as well as the side little cutout there. So those are the embossing lines, and you're going to move it up just so you can't see it on that chameleon image, and then again to the right from that notched cutout, move it over to the left so you can't see it anymore, and that should line up perfectly. I'll place that down on that backer there, and then remove my wheel so that I can go ahead and add my color for the chameleon. So what I wanted to do was figure out how many images I needed to color in. I originally thought I was going to trace out this chameleon and then just color them each in. And then I quickly realized as I got started here that that was not going to work, because I would only get, I think, 2 of the chameleon images. So I kind of did some replanning here. Once I get the wheel back on, I realized it was easier to have that on there to spin and figure this out. So as you can see here, I'm spinning it, and I was going to mark out to see where the images would go, and realized, yeah, I can only trace 2 before they overlap. So from here I'm going to divide it into thirds here, and then from there I'm going to divide that again, each third, so there's 6. So you can count them there. I'm quickly just going to lay down some Copic colors here. I am not the best Copic colorer in the world. I just do what feels right for me. There's other people you can watch to figure out better coloring strategies and techniques. But I'm really just quickly laying down this color so that when the wheel spins, the chameleon will turn colors. Quite simple. And I'm just following, the rainbow colors here. The only thing I'm really trying to make sure when I do this is that I try to blend the colors together through the edges there. So you'll see me go back and forth between the colors to blend those edges. So again, you can use actually anything you have. It doesn't have to be Copic markers. You can use pencil crayons or any markers that you do have. Just kind of experiment with what you have. I'll just go into the purple and making sure it blends nicely with that red. Darken that in. Onto my blue. I think this will make a really cute reveal wheel card at the end. Right, so my last color here is the green. Go ahead and make sure that that blends together with the blue and the yellow there. So I will go back with the blue and then again the yellow to blend those together. So again, just really quick, nothing fancy here. In the end, it's actually going to look really cool in the background, even though it might not look too hot right now. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that wheel back onto the brad. And then kind of see how my chameleon looks. Now, what I've done is, obviously having to play with it, because how much fun is this? I have stamped off camera with some Stays-On ink onto some acetate my little chameleon. And so what I'm going to do here is just trim him down to fit the window. Takes me a little bit here to figure out how big I want it, because I want to make sure I get a good adhesion around it, and it'll line it up on that white paper so you can see it here. And I'm going to use some adhesive here. The Sookwang or Be Creative tape is what other people call it. It's one of the best adhesives. It's just really, really strong. And you know that whatever you're adhering to it, it's not going to lift off. It's one of my favorite adhesives for sure. So once I have that trimmed down to where I like it, I'll go ahead and apply that Be Creative tape. And just around the edges here. And this will give us the little image over top of the colored wheel in the background. Give them some definition. I highly recommend that if you have either a craft knife or a pair of tweezers, even a pin, it really helps to remove that backing off of the adhesive. I find that I just can't get my fingernails underneath. Just goes a bit quicker. Alright, so I will line this up in that opening from the die cut and press it down. I'm really going to burnish it here with my fingernail just to make sure that it is stuck down really well. Alright, I'm not sure why I thought I had to remove the wheel here. It was pretty late at night, so once I got that figured out, I had to play with it yet again. I'm just erasing some of the little markings I made originally on that wheel. And play with it again, because really, how cute is that? Now I wanted to use an orange background here, and so I'm just making my card base. It's the standard A2 card size, which is a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock cut in half, and then scored at 5.5 to make a 5.5 by 4.25 inch top folding note card. Again, just white Recollections cardstock. It's about 110 pound. And this orange cardstock is just Recollections brand that I picked up at my local Michael's. So I'm going to adhere that down with my Tombow adhesive liner there. Line that up. And again, push it down to get a good seal. Alright, so now we need to add some adhesive, and I have actually doubled up on the adhesive here to make sure that that wheel spins nice and smooth. get these trimmed up to fit around. You want to make sure that you're not applying your adhesive too close to that wheel, otherwise it won't spin properly. This is just some 3M adhesive that I picked up off of Amazon. And last little bit here. I really didn't want this to go anywhere, so I applied quite a bit. Alright, so now I'm going to lay that top down. A little something there I'm going to pick off. Once I get that on there nicely, get it all lined up, press it down and play with it yet again. How cute is that? Now I'm going to use that Be Creative tape yet again and just apply it to the back of this. And something I didn't do, which I should have done, was really burnished it down just a little bit more than I did, because when I go to take the backing off here, I do have some difficulties. It just didn't stick down as well, and so you'll see me kind of playing around with it, trying to get it to stick nicely. But once you burnish that creative tape down onto your project, there's no issues. It won't come off. Like I said, I was doing this really late at night, so I was just trying to get it done at this point. So I did do some stamping with those little hearts there, and this little guy that I have, I'm actually going to put him on the inside of the card, so I've colored him up with just some Copic markers. Again, I am not the best colorer, so I'm not going to show you any of that coloring. Just use what you have, pencil, crayons, or whatever markers. Do what feels right for you. I'm going to cut these guys out. Now the little hearts there and the leaves, I used some Umbrella Craft dye ink just to stamp those, and I'll end up coloring the hearts in a bit. So I'll get that little chameleon cut out. I also did the sentiment at the same time. I used some Versamark ink there and some Ranger Snow White embossing powder here. And just quickly stamped my sentiment on a banner that is from Heffy Doodle. It's the Heffy Doodle Stitch Strips of Ease dies. That's a mouthful to say, but I really like this, this die here for sentiments. I'll cut it into a little banner here with some fishtails at the end as I heat set that. I really like just seeing what I have and then playing around and mixing and matches with different products. So once I get that fishtail cut to where I like it, I'll lay it down, and then I'm going to start adhering all my little bits on top. Just using some Tombow Multi-Medium here to adhere that down. Again, this is another really good liquid adhesive. It gives you a little bit of wiggle room when you're putting things down. And if you don't have a pair of reverse tweezers, highly recommend that you have those in your arsenal of crafting supplies. I literally picked mine up at the dollar store, but they have been invaluable to me. Especially with small little bits like these leaves here. So once I get those leaves adhered on there, I'll attach my sentiment. Alright, that looks pretty good. And my banner, I didn't want to add any dimensional tape underneath because this is already a bulky card with this reveal wheel. So I'm just going to use some of that Be Creative tape again just to get a good adhesive on the back there so it's not going anywhere, and especially because it does hang off the right edge there just a little bit. Alright, I'll get this put down. Excellent. Alright, so now I have to play with it yet again. I will put this onto that orange cardstock here. It's attached to my base and just kind of lining it up. I want to add that little arrow that comes with the sentiments for the reveal wheel. And that will let the recipient know that they should turn that little wheel. So I'm going to pull that little guy out. I did put a pencil mark down just so I kind of have an idea of where it should sit in that little gap there. I'm just using some Versa fine ink here. This is the black onyx ink. There we go. I really like that ink. It always gives me a crisp image every time I use it. Now we're just going to quickly remove the backing here. Like I said, this is where I didn't burnish it down on the corners here, and I should have. Give it a little rub there. And get this guy set in place. Oh, how cute is that? Now I did want to add a few of the little hearts there. Like I said, I used some umbrella ink craft ink dye there to do the hearts, and then I decided to just color them in with Copic markers. I wanted them to be a little bit bolder. So I'm just quickly adding a little bit of color, and then I just fussy cut those out. Another tool that you see there that I absolutely love and use is that jewel picker. Another great item to have to stick those little images down. I'm actually using Distress Multimedium to attach these little hearts. Another great adhesive. I know that whatever I put down with it, it's not going anywhere. It's going to stick down nicely. And again, it gives me a little wiggle room to move those hearts around just a little bit. So get these guys placed. I usually do odd numbers of little embellishments when I lay them down. But wherever you think those hearts or whatever embellishments you're using look good, just put them down there. And then I will be adding, after I play with it yet again, adding some of the glossy accents on top of the hearts, as well as a Google eye here. I did like how Chari Moss added the Google eye, just because the eye through the acetate, there, it just looked a little funny, and I think the Google eye just finishes it off. How cute is that? So much fun. Alright, so that finishes our card for today. I want to thank you so much for joining me, and hopefully you'll share your creations with me. Please remember to like and share, and also subscribe if you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a great day.